In this video, I'm going to show you several stun drills that will really supercharge your game. These are great drills to practice before leagues or tournaments. Then later in the video, we're going to go through several stun patterns that incorporate many of these shots. This video is really going to sharpen your cue ball speed. So if you're ready, let's get started. Before we begin, it's important to understand what we mean by stun shots, and also several tips you should know that will help you better understand how to improve your skill at these types of shots. When we talk about stun shots, we're talking about controlling the amount of roll on the cue ball, if any, by the time it gets to the object ball. For instance, in this stun shot, I'm going to stop the cue ball at the object ball. So when I shoot the cue ball, I'll be using a little low spin along with proper speed, so that when the cue ball arrives at the object ball, it's neither rolling forward or drawing back. It's essentially what we call a sliding cue ball. If a cue ball is sliding and strikes the object ball full, it will stop dead. If the cue ball is sliding when it strikes the object ball at an angle, it will follow the tangent line, which is a 90-degree line off the object ball. Now instead of stopping the cue ball, I'm going to be pocketing the object ball and rolling forward about 2 inches. When I shoot the object ball, I'll be using a firm stroke and shooting slightly above center on the cue ball. Now if I shoot this shot with a firm speed, the cue ball will have a small amount of roll on it by the time it strikes the object ball, which should send it to the position area. Since I'm aiming slightly above center, if I shoot softly, the cue ball will begin to roll forward almost immediately after striking the object ball, which will send the cue ball past the position area. And this leads to one of our principles of stun shots. Stun shots are speed sensitive. In order to perform these drills correctly, your speed control will have to be consistent. And when many players think of speed control, they only think of the cue ball's path as it rolls to its destination. Stun shots are much more demanding than rolling shots when it comes to controlling your speed. And you can see an example of this by setting this shot up and just try to pocket the ball and roll the cue ball into the target area. Since we're rolling the cue ball, as long as we're striking the same part of the object ball, the cue ball is going to take a consistent path. Rolling shots, unlike stun shots, aren't speed sensitive, in that if I change my speed at all, the cue ball continues along the same path regardless of the speed change. Now here's a stun shot where I'll be pocketing the object ball and landing on or close to the target area. But once I underhit the shot, you can see that the cue ball takes a much different path. And the same is true for when I strike the cue ball with too much speed. In order to be consistent at stun shots, players need to have a total command of their speed control. On stun shots, find your ideal speed first, then determine where you need to strike the cue ball to successfully execute the shot. When working with students, one thing they always mention is that they don't have good speed control no matter how much they practice. And this leads us to our next principle. Proper speed control is the result of repetition. There isn't a shortcut to hitting the ball over and over again while controlling the cue ball's path. It's about learning all the subtleties of the shot through repetition. Speed, cue ball spin, contact point of the object ball, and what part of the pocket you need to send the object ball into. Unless you are properly training, it's very difficult to have consistent speed control, especially when it comes to stun shots. Pull is a game of feel, which is why the drills that I'm about to show you will have a tremendous positive effect on your ball pocketing and cue ball control. So let's get started with the first drill. In this first drill, we're going to pocket the object ball and send the cue ball around the second ball. We're going to try to keep the cue ball within 2 diamonds of the end rail. This shot requires a sliding cue ball. As with all the drills I'm going to show you, we won't be using side spin. As you improve, try to keep the cue ball within 1.5 diamonds of the end rail. Try to land near the second ball's pocket line. The goal is to have a nice shot on the second ball. And when you first attempt a shot, your cue ball may go too far. If this happens, try cutting your speed in half. And this leads to our next principle of stunt shots. When performing stunt shots, as a general rule, as your speed decreases, you're going to be hitting lower on the cue ball. So if you're hitting softer on the cue ball, but your cue ball is striking the second ball or traveling in this direction, then you'll need to strike much lower on the cue ball. If you're striking the cue ball with maximum low and you're still striking the second ball, then start increasing your speed. As you improve, start moving the cue ball farther away. When I work with students, it usually takes them a little while to develop a feel for this shot. Try to perform at least 3 successful shots in a row from each cue ball location. Eventually, you should be able to execute this shot 10 times in a row from each cue ball location. If you're struggling with this shot, then move the second ball to the in rail and just practice drawing the cue ball off the in rail for position. Start with the second ball here until you have the shot down, then move the ball to this location. Once you get the shot down, go back to the original drill. In this drill, we'll be pocketing the object ball and sliding the cue ball over to the other side rail for shape on the 8 ball. We can see that the sliding cue ball line heads in this direction. So when the cue ball strikes the object ball, it needs a little low spin to pull it back, sending it toward the third diamond. Remember, lock your speed down first, then determine where you need to strike the object ball. As you improve at this drill, move the cue ball farther away. This is a great shot once you have it down. It allows you to put that cue ball in some very tight areas. Also, try moving the 8 ball to different locations. For instance, in this shot, you'll need to strike the cue ball a little above center to force it toward the target area. This shot is similar to shot 1. In this shot, we're going to stun the cue ball around the second ball for position. The goal is to end up with a nice shot on the second ball. You'll be keeping the cue ball within this area for position. Keep moving the cue ball farther away as you improve at this shot. Next, move the second ball to the next location. This time you'll be keeping the cue ball within this area. Keep an eye on the cue ball when performing the shot to make sure you're not putting accidental side spin on the cue ball. Finally, move the second ball to the final location. You'll be keeping the cue ball within this area for position. In this shot, we're going to try to land the cue ball on or very close to the target area. The goal is to get position on the 8 ball. Challenge yourself to shoot this shot 3 times in a row successfully before moving the cue ball to the next location. With some players, it may take quite a few shots before they have 3 good shots in a row, and it may not even happen during their first training session. But if you practice this shot at least for 10 minutes each time you train, it won't be long before you're executing this shot consistently from each cue ball location. When this happens, you'll start to notice an improvement in your cue ball control when playing in tournaments and leagues. This shot is an excellent example of really locking in on your cue ball speed. In this drill, we're going to be sending the cue ball off the side rail and into our position area. The cue ball should be striking between the second and third diamond of the side rail. On this shot, really focus on locking in and what speed you're going to need. Then make note of the cue ball's path. If the cue ball is striking near the side pocket, you need to strike slightly lower on the cue ball. And if the cue ball is striking too low on the rail, then aim slightly higher. And remember, your speed and where you strike the cue ball have to be in sync. So when you change where you strike the cue ball, keep the speed consistent from shot to shot, so you can really lock in on where you need to strike the cue ball. As you improve in this shot, start moving the cue ball farther away. This is another powerful shot that makes it easy to move the cue ball from one end of the table to another. In this shot, we're going to stun the cue ball toward the 8-ball. This is a shot that comes up quite often in both 8-ball and 9-ball, where the tangent line of the object ball will send the cue ball toward the next ball. Being able to recognize when this happens, along with executing the shot correctly, will take your positional game to a new level. As you improve with this shot, start moving the cue ball farther back. If you can land on the target, that is excellent, but keeping the cue ball on the path toward the 8-ball is still very good. In this drill, we're going to pocket the object ball and play shape for the 8-ball in the bottom right corner pocket. We're going to start with the cue ball fairly close to the object ball, and then as we improve in this drill, we'll start moving the cue ball farther away. And this leads to our next principle of stun shots. The farther away you are from the object ball, the more accurate your speed is going to have to be. So if you're in a game and you have ball in hand, and if you're going to play a stun shot, you'll want the cue ball fairly close to the object ball, about this distance here. Let's say you're going to play a stop shot with ball in hand. Start with putting the cue ball fairly close to the object ball and shoot center on the cue ball. At this distance, as long as you shoot center, your cue ball will stop regardless of your speed, as opposed to being farther away where now the shot becomes much more speed sensitive. Letting up on your speed even a little bit from this distance will result in the cue ball rolling forward. As you progress through this drill, try moving the 8-ball to different locations. Now when we shoot the object ball, the cue ball needs a slight amount of roll on it to push it forward, sending it in the correct direction. This is similar to a previous drill, except this time we're going to send the cue ball all the way to the other end rail. If you can land in the target area, that is excellent, but just landing in this area here is very good. Over time, with enough practice, you'll be consistently landing on or very close to the target area. As you improve, try moving the target to another location. Building your shot repertoire will really open your eyes as to what is possible during the 8-ball or 9-ball match. For instance, if we're playing 8-ball and we're playing the solids, we now know we can softly roll in the 2-ball, creating an angle in the 4-ball that will send the cue ball toward the other end rail for shape on the 8-ball. In this drill, we're going to use a stun shot to send the cue ball off the side rail and into our target area for shape on the 8-ball. If you're missing the target, keep track of the cue ball's path. That way you can make any adjustments on your next shot. As you improve with this shot, start moving the cue ball farther back. This drill is similar to the last drill, but this time we'll be sending the cue ball all the way to the end rail for shape on the 8-ball. The cue ball will be striking in front of the 3rd diamond. As you improve, start moving the cue ball farther away. Next, move the 8-ball to the 2nd diamond on the end rail. Now try to land the cue ball between the 8-ball and corner pocket. Try to perform each shot 3 times in a row before moving on to the next cue ball location. In this drill, we'll be pocketing the object ball and sending the cue ball off the side rail near the second diamond. The goal is to land on or very close to the target area for shaping the 8 ball. When you practice this shot, keep track of where the cue ball goes on each shot. For instance, if the cue ball is heading in this direction, this means you need to strike the cue ball a little higher. If the cue ball is striking the side rail too soon, that means your cue ball needs to be struck slightly lower on the cue ball. Try to perform each shot 3 times in a row before moving on to the next cue ball location. Here's a similar drill, except in this drill, we're going to be sending the cue ball all the way to the end rail for shape on the 8 ball. Before shooting shots like this, it's important to visualize the path of the cue ball. Since the angle leaving the cushion will be similar to the angle toward the cushion, we can safely guess that we won't be sending the cue ball toward the second diamond. But if we send the cue ball toward the third diamond, now we can see that this path should work for sending the cue ball to the target area. This time we'll be sending the cue ball to the other side of the 8 ball. Instead of sending the cue ball to the third diamond, you'll be sending it to the second diamond. In this drill, we'll be pocketing the object ball and drawing the cue ball to the middle of the table for shape on the 8 ball. This shot takes a bit of practice before you can become consistent. When players first try this, their cue ball tends to have a little too much roll on it, sending it in this direction. Lock down your speed first, then determine how low you need to strike the cue ball. Try to perform each shot 3 times in a row before moving on to the next cue ball location. In this drill, we're going to pocket the object ball and send the cue ball to the other side rail for shape on the 8 ball. After each shot, keep track of where the cue ball goes to make any needed adjustments. If your speed is good, but the cue ball is tracking this way, then you need to aim lower on the cue ball. This shot is very speed sensitive and requires excellent cue ball control to get through it 3 times in a row. As you improve, move the 8 ball to different locations. This shot is similar to a previous shot in that we're going to pocket the object ball and stun the cue ball around the second ball. This type of shot comes up quite often in 8 ball and 9 ball. The goal when shooting this shot is to move the cue ball around the second ball and keep it within this area. As with the other stun shots, find your speed first, then determine where you need to strike the cue ball. As you improve, start moving the cue ball farther away. Practice setting up your own scenarios where you have to send the cue ball around a second ball and land in a target area. In this drill, we're going to pocket the object ball and have the cue ball roll forward a couple inches for shaping the 8 ball. At the first cue ball location, you'll be striking the cue ball just above center with a firm stroke. This shot really requires a nice touch, especially when you move the cue ball back to the farther location. Now we're going to go through several stun patterns that contain the shots that we just covered. We'll be shooting the balls in order and just using center, center low, and center high. Let's examine the first pattern. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 6 ball and stun the cue ball to this area below the 7 ball pocket line. Now we're going to stun the cue ball over to the side rail between the first and second diamond. If your cue ball strikes the end rail, you have to start the run over. Also, heading straight to the end rail isn't allowed. Once you're on the 8 ball, you'll be rolling it in, then pocketing the 9 ball. So if you end up too high on the side rail when you're shooting the 8 ball, you'll be left with a thin cut on the 9 ball. You're not allowed to go up and down the table for shaping the 9 ball. Ideally, you want to end up around here where you can just roll in the 8 ball, and you should be left with a nice shot on the 9 ball. When practicing these patterns, you'll want to run them at least 3 times in a row. And here's why this is so important. As you attempt to run this pattern 3 times in a row, your cue ball will end up at different angles on the 7 ball, which means you'll have to learn how to pocket the 7 and get your shape in the 8 ball from a variety of angles. Running this pattern 3 times in a row in this manner is difficult even for strong players. since side spin isn't allowed. Another benefit of trying to run patterns 3 times in a row is that as you begin the third successful pattern in a row, you'll begin to feel the pressure. So you really need to stay focused in order to complete 3 successful patterns in a row. This sort of exercise strengthens your mental game and helps your focus when you're under pressure. One thing you'll realize when you start this pattern is that the closer you end up to the 7-ball pocket line, the harder you're going to need to strike the cue ball to move it to the side rail. The farther you end up from the 7-ball pocket line, the lower on the cue ball you're going to need to strike. When I shot the 8-ball, I ended up a bit high on the side rail, which means when I shoot the 8-ball, I need to use a soft stroke so I can leave myself a shot on the 9-ball. In this pattern, we're going to start here on the 1-ball and stun the cue ball over to the side rail, landing near the 2-ball pocket line. From here, we're going to roll in the 2-ball, sending the cue ball forward, crossing the 3-ball pocket line. And on this shot, going off the end rail is allowed. Next, we're going to stun the cue ball off the 3-ball and send it toward the 4-ball, staying to the left of the 4-ball pocket line. When we shoot the 4-ball, we want the cue ball coming off the side rail for shaping the 5-ball. And in this shot, you're allowed to go off the side rail and end rail for shape on the 5-ball. When you try to run these patterns 3 times in a row, you'll notice that you may struggle on the first shot. But since you're shooting it over and over again, after a while you'll start to develop a feel for this type of shot. Then you may get stuck in the second shot or third shot. In order to execute these patterns 3 times in a row, you'll have to develop a feel for each and every shot in the pattern, especially since your angles to each ball are going to change slightly. This pattern really requires excellent speed control. Getting through this pattern 3 times in a row would be excellent. On this first shot, we're going to stun the cue ball off the end rail for an angle on the 2-ball. When we shoot the 2-ball, we're going to stun the cue ball landing on this side of the 3-ball pocket line. And on this shot, going off the side rail for your shape in the 3-ball is allowed. From here, we'll stun the cue ball off the side rail for our angle on the 4-ball. When we pocket the 4-ball, we need to send the cue ball off both side rails for shaping the 5-ball. And if you ever get stuck in one particular shot in a pattern, it's sometimes not a bad idea to stop shooting the pattern and just practice that particular shot over and over again. In this pattern, we're going to send the cue ball toward the 2-ball, staying below the 2-ball pocket line. Now we have to pocket the 2-ball and come off the side rail, staying to the right of the 3-ball pocket line. In this pattern, it's required that the cue ball come off the side rail for the 3-ball. We'll use this angle in the 3-ball to send the cue ball to the bottom side rail, crossing the 4-ball pocket line. In this pattern, it's required that the cue ball comes off the side rail for position on the 4-ball. Next, we'll pocket the 4-ball and send the cue ball off the side rail for shaping the 5-ball. Once again, it's required that the cue ball comes off the side rail for position on the 5-ball. It's important that when going through each pattern to visualize the cue ball path and destination before getting down on the table. In this pattern, we'll be pocketing the 1-ball and sending the cue ball off the side rail, crossing the 2-ball pocket line. The cue ball is allowed to go off the end rail. When we shoot the 2-ball, we're not going to be using a rolling cue ball. You'll have to use a stun shot to send the cue ball off the side rail landing on the right side of the 3-ball pocket line. Now we'll send the cue ball over to the side rail so we can pocket the 4-ball and draw back for the 5 in the side pocket. The key shot in this rack is going from the 2-ball to the 3-ball. This shot requires that the player have excellent control of their cue ball speed. In this pattern, we're going to pocket the 5-ball and send the cue ball over to the side rail, staying to the left of the 6-ball pocket line. From here, we're going to send the cue ball 2 rails for the 7-ball in the side pocket. We need to make sure the cue ball ends up on the right side of the 7-ball pocket line. Now we'll send the cue ball over to the side rail for shaping the 8-ball. On this shot, the cue ball isn't allowed to go off the end rail. If it does, you'll have to start the run over. Preferably, we want to end up between the first and second diamond, so we can use this angle to send the cue ball to the middle of the table. In this pattern, we're going to use a stunned follow shot on the 1-ball to create an angle on the 2-ball. We can then use this angle to stun the cue ball toward the end rail, ending up on the right side of the 3-ball pocket line. From here, we're going to stun the cue ball straight up table for our shape in the 4-ball, making sure the cue ball stays on the right side of the 4-ball pocket line. When we pocket the 4-ball, we need to send the cue ball off the side rail for shape in the 5-ball. The key shot in this rack is the 1-ball, which takes a bit of practice. You'll be shooting the cue ball just above center with a firm stroke. Ending up too close to the 2-ball pocket line means you have to use a very firm stroke to send the cue ball to the end rail.